Okay, gonna do a little powder coating here, and then we'll get them in the oven and let them cook a little bit. You'll see the end result. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video that I got a cheap Eastwood gun with single voltage because I don't do recoats. Well, I've got to do a recoat. I don't know if you can see it here, and I'm sure no one that cuts anything out on a CNC plasma has ever done this, but I did a stupid thing. I had some room left on a piece of steel, and I thought, I wonder if I got enough room there to get a dragonfly on there. So I laid it down so I could find my 0 point, and I hit go, and I didn't take the daggum thing off. So the first thing the torch did is moved over on top of it and fired and left an ugly little divot. So it had already been powder coated, and now I'm going to try and touch that up. Never tried this before, don't know if it's going to work, but we'll see when we get to the end. All right, so I've got the gun all hooked up. I normally do use a face mask, but because I'm going to be talking to you, it probably won't sound very good, so I'm going to skip that for this couple of sprays, and then for the rest of them, I'll put my face mask on and do them off camera. Let me turn my vacuum on. Not sure you can hear it over top of it, but all right, push the go button, and let's see if we can cover up that ugly little spot. Looks like it's working okay. We'll know after we get it out of the oven. All right, then we'll go to the one that's hadn't been coated before, and it works a lot better, but got the powder coat gun pressure set to I think it's about 9 psi right now. And you know, I've watched the professional powder coat guys with those like a Gema gun. Oh man, they make it look so stinking easy, where this is a bit of work, but I haven't got $5 grand for a Gema gun laying around, so you're going to see the little cheap Eastwood. And listen, I am an amateur. I don't know a whole lot about powder coating. I've never taken a class. I want to. And so I'm probably doing some things that could be improved. You guys that are out there doing powder coating, man, you're not going to hurt my feelings at all if you will weigh in and tell me I'm doing something stupid or doing something wrong, because I definitely want to learn. So please feel free to straighten me out. Okay, that's about it for those two guys. The oven is warming up, so I'm just going to go ahead and hang these on the frame, and I'll show you the frame before I stick it in with all the rest of the stuff. But I'm not going to do any more. I got a bunch of gnomes, and basically what happens is when I got room left on a sheet of steel, and it's not big enough to create something, you know, pretty good size, then I make these garden gnomes, and that they seem to sell okay, and they take up the room. Okay, so I'm gonna shut you off here, and I'll bring you back a little bit later. Okay, I've powder coated, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 items. They're all small gnomes. I'll show you a picture of hanging on the rack before I throw them in the oven. But I wanted to point out the Booth post spray, or whatever you call powder electrostatic attraction. And just to give you an idea what it looks like. So I've turned the vacuum off now, and you can see obviously from the black that's on the filter that it is attracting a significant amount of powder. There's some on the floor, not sure you can see that, obviously, and then there's some on the back wall. You can see the pattern. I had one of the things I hung up, and it looked like it had a lot of lint from the rag, so I blew it off. Well, of course, it made a nice spray pattern on the back. And we are now ready to, I'll show you cleaning up the powder coat mess. The oven is not quite up to temperature, needs a couple by maybe 20 degrees, and I'll show you when we put that thing in. So makes a little bit of noise here, but you'll see the process. Okay, that's it. That's how it cleans up. I don't really try and do any better than that. Let me now see if I can show you the items that are hanging on the rack. You see those? Yeah, they're all just basically some of those small garden gnomes. And the oven looks pretty close. It is 433. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes to get it up to 450, because when you open that door you lose a lot of heat, and for it to get back up to the point where it's supposed to be, from what I understand, it takes a few minutes. So I'm gonna turn you off. I'll turn you back on as soon as it's ready to go, and we'll open the door and we'll stick those things in. Okay, we're up to temp, so I'm gonna open this thing up, slide that in, try and keep those things from banging into each other, and let's see what they look like when we're done. All right, that thing started out at 450, and you can see opening that door, I'm all the way down now to 342. So you lose a lot of heat, but hopefully I let it soak a little bit so that the wall temperature and so forth are warm enough that it'll come back up to temp pretty quick. The powder that I'm using comes from a company called Powder by the Pound. They happen to be pretty close to me here in Tennessee, and I haven't shot this one before, but it looks like it's the same percentage, 60% gloss, that I was using from Eastwood for their semi-gloss. So hopefully it's going to come out looking as well. Because the stuff I got from Eastwood, I actually, it was good. Hey, by the way, check out the shirt, huh? Langmuir Systems. I wonder if I'll get any benefit from that. We got to post this video on the company site and say, hey, there you go, I'm advertising for you. Anyway, I in a minute will peek in there, and basically instructions say that you know, once it turns to glossy and reach the temperature. Now I really should have a temperature gun, because the instructions on the powder is that once the metal once it's in the oven and the metal comes to a temperature of 400 degrees, then cook it for 10 minutes. I got a cheap little gun, and I'm not so sure the black color doesn't give me a different reading than I would if I was, pointing at, say, a white or something like that. I think black should give me a reasonable answer from the emissivity, but what I'll do is I'll just peek in there, and if it looks like it's glossed over, I'm going to assume that the temperature, the metal temperature, is pretty close to being the 400, and then I'll cook it. This particular powder says cook for 10 minutes, whereas the Eastwood was 20, and we'll see what it looks like. So I'll bring you back when I'm ready to pull them things out. We are still cooking. It hasn't gotten up to the temperature yet to them gloss over. But I mentioned something about the cheap guns and temperature guns and the emissivity. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I point this at that door right now, see if you can see that. It says that basically I'm at 78 degrees, which is, just a little above room temperature. But let me tell you, that thing is hot. I'll bet that thing is 110 degrees, and that's because the reflectivity of that metal is kind of fooling the temperature gauge. So if that was painted black and you wouldn't get that reflective property, I think you'd get pretty close to the right answer. Because if I go into a corner where there's not much light, now granted I'm at the seam, so it should be already hotter, but it's up to 100 degrees. So that's that emissivity issue. I know there's some guns that allow you to set the emissivity based on what you're going to be pointing at. But let's peek in there, and I'm going to shine this gun at one of those close by and just see what the heck it says. It says 323. So again, I'm supposed to let that metal temperature come up to 400. I'm not sure whether to trust this or not. It might be at 400 now, for all I know. Again, I probably ought to have maybe a contact thermometer one time and test it against one of the things in there and see what happens. I'll bring you back when they're ready to come out. Okay, folks, I'm actually about 3 minutes past when I should be taking this thing out. I tried to turn my phone on and it was completely dead, didn't realize it. So let's see what we got. Wow. Don't want to swing them things around and have them hit each other. Oh. Okay, let's see. I moved it completely almost out of the frame, picture frame, didn't I? I'm going to take this out, see if I can do this without. All right, I tried to take a video of pulling this thing out and my phone was completely dead. So I had to charge it up. Apologize about that, but here it is. Oh, I let it charge for about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna have to do this pretty quick before it's gonna die again. But there it is. I pulled it out, looking pretty good. I'm happy with the quality of the powder coat, and hopefully that gave you some information of what I've been doing. And again, if you guys see something I've done or am doing that could be improved or is unsafe or stupid, you're not gonna hurt my feelings at all. Let me know, because I want to be a good powder coater, along with being a good plasma cutter. Okay, thanks a lot, folks. D&N Custom Creations. See you.